Hi everybody. A few months ago I made a clutch switch video using the clutch switch on my motorbike, and it was a Honda motorbike, and the clutch switch style it had was a plunger. Now this isn't a plunger, but when you operated the lever it pushed the plunger in, made the circuit and allowed the bike to start. Now just within the last week or two, a clutch switch on my Suzuki failed, and it didn't just fail intermittently like the plunger type do, where sometimes the plunger sticks in and sometimes it works normally. On the Suzuki it's a slide type clutch switch, and here's the new one where there's a slot in the underside of the lever. When you pull the lever in, it slides this bar along and makes the connection. There's the two spade connections underneath, and when you let it go it slides it back this way and breaks the connection. And if we look in here using the light, we should see, we can't see, the brass connections that this little slider makes or joins together when the clutch lever's pulled in. Now what had happened on my Suzuki was this little bar, or whatever, spigot, tongue, whatever you want to call it, it had snapped off. Just over time it just wore and snapped off, and left me with no means to start the bike apart from taking the two connections from here, the female spades, pulling them off the switch and then bridging a little bit of metal in. So now I don't need to pull the clutch in. The bike will start just by turning the ignition on and pressing the starter button. But I'd like to make it back to normal. So this cost me £8, this little thing, about $9 maybe. And I'll put this back in, take out the little bridging piece of metal I have, and I'll have a functioning clutch switch again. So if you have the plunger type, you may start getting an intermittent fault, which will lead you to think it just needs cleaned up with maybe brake cleaner or carb cleaner or white spirit, something along those lines, methylated spirits maybe. But if you have the slide type, I think it either works or doesn't work. You don't get an intermittent fault, it goes from working to not working, and this part needs replaced. If you're out on a trip and it fails on you, you've really got difficulty, because you're somehow going to have to make the circuit, take the two female spade connectors off, pull the insulation back and make the circuit. And you only need to make it whilst you're starting the bike. It doesn't have to be made in order to let the bike continue to run. So if you can somehow pull the female spades off, pull the insulation back, squeeze them together with your gloved fingers, I would say, and switch the ignition on, press the starter, the bike will start, and that should get you home. And then you'll have to replace this little part. As I say, this is a Suzuki part. It may be shared with other manufacturers. Instead of a plunger, you have a sliding switch. Thanks for watching.